How does faking the anatomy of a horse's leg force a multi-billion-dollar streaming platform to rewrite its entire playbook? We are going to look at the psychological sleight of hand required to fake an impossible cross-country race, and why executing that illusion too perfectly accidentally broke the Netflix algorithm. The series is Steel Ball Run. Set in 1890, it tracks thousands of riders competing for a $50 million prize in a brutal 3,700-mile transcontinental sprint from San Diego to New York. On March 19, 2026, Netflix dropped the first 47 minutes of the adaptation. The animation was virtually flawless. And then the platform went completely silent. There was no episode 2 and no scheduled release date. That corporate vacuum ignited an immediate revolt. Fans had fully expected a compromised, heavily corner-cut adaptation of a famously difficult manga. Instead, they were handed a technical miracle that was immediately locked back in the vault. If you check the credits for that single premiere episode, you will find over 200 animators working across a global pipeline. That is an enormous workforce to deploy for less than an hour of television. The culprit is the horse. Equine joints do not move the way they look like they should. The front and back legs operate independently, and the slightest error in rendering that motion triggers immediate viewer rejection. The human brain instantly knows it looks wrong. Compounding the problem, the characters in Steel Ball Run spend a huge chunk of the story having long, complex conversations while riding at top speed. The animation has to stretch and loop perfectly for the dialogue to finish. If you draw those loops in traditional 2D, you have to recreate the running cycle by hand every single time the camera angle changes. Doing that on a weekly television schedule guarantees a massive pipeline bottleneck. Pushing that volume of traditional animation through the studio was mathematically impossible. The production team had to rely heavily on computer-generated 3D models to hit their deadlines. But 3D anime horses are notorious for looking clunky and lifeless. To fix this, director Yasuhiro Kimura stopped treating the animals like biological creatures and started treating them like high-performance machines. He studied Formula One racing. He directed his animators to draw the horses as if they were rocketing across the plains at 300 kilometers per hour, moving with the explosive momentum of a race car. This hyper-fast pacing serves a mechanical purpose. It physically outruns the human eye. By sandwiching those 3D elements between fast-moving 2D layers and rapid camera cuts, the brain registers a cinematic ride-along. You snap to the next shot before spotting the stiff 3D edges. This sleight of hand resulted in an hour of highly acclaimed television. And because the final product was so polished, withholding the rest of the race from the public ignited an internet rebellion. So what happens when a highly motivated fan base collides directly with a streaming platform's algorithmic release strategy? The fandom went into complete meltdown. Viral protest images flooded social media. Major corporate brands jumped in to publicly mock the network's insistence on holding back episodes. On April 6th, the giant blinked. Netflix issued a statement abandoning their usual batch drop model for this series, confirming that the upcoming stages would be broadcast weekly. The premiere's technical success turned fan frustration into genuine cultural leverage. Netflix was no longer managing a routine schedule. They were protecting the reputation of their biggest premiere of the year. On September 25th, the race resumes. The competitors will face a grueling 750-mile desert crossing through a supernatural wasteland known as the Devil's Palm. We will see heavy hitters enter the fray, including a mysterious aristocrat, a veteran Wyoming cowboy, and the President of the United States. And we will see them clash over 11 new episodes, delivered exactly the way the viewers demanded, 1 week at a time. The sudden shift to a weekly rollout marks a rare moment where consumer demand overrode a platform's established release logic. The production's technical ambition effectively forced the corporate strategy to adapt to the audience's preferred pace.